What's up guys, Decipher here. The previous meta for Warzone was that everyone who wanted to win was running around with the Grau assault rifle because it had an obvious advantage. The damage range was amazing, the recoil was very solid, and the aim down sight speed was fast compared to its assault rifle counterparts. With the recent changes to the Grau, the damage range was reduced, high frequency recoil was added, and the two commonly used barrels, the Archangel and Nexus, were both nerfed for both recoil and range. So what does this mean? Is there a new metagun now? Well, the answer isn't that easy anymore. Come join me as we take an in-depth look at the recoil, damage range, time to kill, and ADS speed of every assault rifle in Modern Warfare Warzone. If you are new to this channel, please drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss in-depth analytical videos like this one each and every week. I do warn you now that there's a lot of meat in this video, so if you don't want to understand the intricacies of each gun and simply want to know which one to use, jump to the end. For everyone that's still here, let's get to it. The first thing I wanted to look at was the base recoil patterns of all guns. I did leave out the FAMAS FR556 because it is a burst rifle and burst rifles have very little recoil. So this is how your shots will look like when you unload a clip of dirty bullets in a continuous fashion. For the most part, you want your recoil as tight as possible and with less horizontal sway. Having recoil go vertical isn't always that bad, as it can land you a headshot or two if you always aim for the stomach or the chest. More horizontal movement will cause shots to hit the arms, which will deal less damage than the center of the body and the head. To account for a recoil pattern and keep your shots on target, you drag your aim the opposite of where you think it's going to hit. For example, if you know your recoil is going to be diagonally upwards to the right, you can drag your aim diagonally downwards and to the left as more rounds get fired off. For the image you see here, each gun was shot from the same distance, and I figured having them all together made it easier to compare. And just to get this out of the way, there's a very minimal variation in recoil when shooting different ammo clips of the same gun. It's important to know the base recoil because any additional attachments you add to a gun can shrink the recoil pattern, but it will never change how the recoil moves. For example, the CR56 recoil pattern is mostly straight up. No attachment that you add can make it move left or right. Similar case for the Ram7, no attachment addition will make the recoil go to the right or even straight up instead of that leftward angle. For terminology, when you see the words recoil control on attachments, that means it affects vertical recoil, whereas recoil stabilization affects horizontal recoil. Don't get that confused with aiming stability, which does nothing more than reduce idle sway when aiming down sights. Any recoil boosts you receive from attachments are done on a percentage basis, so a 20% recoil control boost will make more of an impact on the AK47 than it will on the Kilo 141. I did a few more tests on recoils and attachments, as I wanted to get closer to what a fully loaded weapon would be. To do this, I added 3 attachments that are commonly used to affect recoil: the foregrip, the barrel, and the grip tape. The barrels change between guns, but I always chose the one that had the most damage range along with some recoil control. The rubber grip was always chosen, and the foregrip was where I messed around a bit. The first thing I wanted to see was whether recoil stabilization was better than having recoil control. And the short answer is no. Recoil control on the Merc foregrip is as good as, if not better, than the Commando foregrip, which provides recoil stabilization. Even for the Ram7, I was surprised to see that the horizontal recoil wasn't pulled in more with the Commando foregrip. Since the Ram7 has the worst base horizontal recoil of all the assault rifles, there simply is no reason to choose recoil stabilization over recoil control for your attachments. Since there are 3 different foregrips that provide recoil control, the Merc, Ranger, and Operator, I wanted to see if any of them stood out over the rest, and the short answer is not really. The Operator foregrip looks to have a slight difference, but it'll be hard to notice. Effects from the Merc and Ranger foregrip look pretty much the same. I didn't take into account any of the drawbacks from the foregrips, but that will have to be saved for a future video. I've been hearing lately that the Merc foregrip provides a movement speed boost compared to the other foregrips. This is odd, but if it's true, then it'll be an added benefit to using the Merc. Let's get to the damage stats. Here are the time to kills in milliseconds of all the assault rifles based on an enemy with a 250 health pool. To have 250 health, they would have the 100 health base along with 3 50 health armor plates equipped, which is common in Warzone. For close quarters combat, which I consider under 30 meters, the Fal, Oden, and CR56 will absolutely win those fights. When you consider aim down sight speed times, the Oden does have the worst ADS time, which may nullify some of its advantage in close quarters. When you look at overall average time to kill speed at all ranges, 50 meters and under, and then add an aim down sight speed, the Fal crushes in this category, followed by the Oden, the AK, and the CR56. The FR556 burst has the worst average time, with M13, post, nerf Grau, and the Kilo 141 rounding out the rest of the bottom. With the exception of the FR556, the game developers have put on a decent balance and act, and that the fastest time to kills typically have the worst recoil patterns. This is true vice versa, where the worst time to kills have the best recoil patterns. Here's a look at all the assault rifle iron sights next to each other. One of the reasons people loved the Grau was because the iron sight was very clean and the gun itself was very slim. This gave you the benefit of not needing an optic attachment and instead enhancing the aim down sight speed or recoil control instead. Looking at the comparison, the Scar and Oden come close to giving you that same level of visibility you would have with the Grau, with M4 and Kilo not too far behind. The other fat boys like the CR56 or the M13 will block a significant portion of your nearby target vision. Enemies come sliding underneath your target, or if the target you're aiming at crouches or prones, it will be difficult to see. Because of this, it will be more beneficial to have an optic on those fatter guns. Here's a summary of each gun I've looked at. With the Grau nerf, every assault rifle now has some flaws and some strengths. How you want to pick your poison is really up to you. I'm going to go through each gun and then tell you which ones I like the most. First off, other than damage range and clip size, I don't believe the attachment you use for one assault rifle should always translate to every other assault rifle. Even then, optimizing for damage range and clip size are really for modes like Warzone where enemies have more health and can be far away. This is also assuming the AR will be your primary weapon. So let's start with the Kilo. The Kilo 141 has an amazing recoil, below average time to kill speed at all ranges. Because your barrel and muzzle are the only components that affect damage range, the monolithic suppressor and 19.8-inch Singuard barrel are the absolute must-haves. You can round out the rest of the attachments without the need for an optic since your iron sight looks as is, and just focus on ADS. Other than being a semi-automatic, the Fal's downfall is its recoil. Having some additional recoil control can help shrink overall recoil so that you don't have to adjust for it going so far off to the right. However, if you hit your first few shots, it may not even matter. The M4 is a very balanced gun, and that's probably why it's so popular. It's the Ryu and Ken of modern warfare, if you will. The monolithic suppressor and M16 Grenadier barrel for range, Merc foregrip for recoil, and tack laser or stipple grape tape for ADS will do you just fine. I recommend staying far away from the FR556 for Warzone, but if you really want to try it out, go with damage range and ADS. Although the Oden has great time to kill speeds at all ranges, the recoil pattern and ADS time looks terrible. A bit more recoil control here may make sense because your time to kill will compensate for low ADS speed, but will feel really slow and lack that quick snap onto your target. At least you have one of the best iron sights. The M13 is very similar to the Kilo, great recoil but poor damage. You should max out damage range here, but also consider an optic and see how you like it. The Scar is a fairly balanced and seemingly underrated gun. I've never heard anyone recommend the Scar, but looking at my results, it might be a dark horse along with the Fal. ADS speed is the biggest downfall here, and that's where I would focus the extra attachment on. The AK47 is similar to the Oden, where recoil and ADS speed are the biggest issues. Unfortunately, the iron sight also covers most of the target you'll be aiming at, so you want to have an optic here to account for that. The Ram7 is similar to the Fal, where everything looks great except the recoil. Work on the recoil as much as you can. If you go this route, you should also give the Fal a shot, as the TTK numbers are simply much better on the Fal. The Grau is now in the same group as the M4 and the Scar. That's not to say it's a bad gun, but it's no longer overpowered. It still has a beautiful iron sight and the fastest ADS time. I wouldn't blame you if you don't change a thing. The CR56 is simply a better AK47 or a more balanced Oden. You want to add attachments focused on both recoil control as well as ADS. I do not particularly like the iron sight, so you may want to mess around with the optic. After taking a look at all the assault rifles, the only clear winner here that I can see is the Fal. If you can live with the fact that it's a semi-automatic gun, you can kill a 250 health enemy in half the time it takes to kill them with the M13. Half. I'm definitely going to be taking a deeper look at the Fal and the best loadout to use in a future video. I'm also going to be looking at the Scar and CR56 in depth as well. If I can get the ADS time down to where it feels good, the Scar could be my go-to automatic AR moving forward. Let me know what you think about my analysis in the comments, and if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so and hit that notification button so you don't miss the next video. Thank you for watching a Decipher video, and I hope this helped you in your gameplay.